Welcome, everyone. We're doing the Blabathon leading up to the SM Mastery Conference. Here you're going to see a sneak peek into the conference and their experts. We're doing short 20 to 30-minute interviews to show you a little bit more about who's going to be on stage, who they are themselves, and what they're going to be talking about. And that's, again, leading up to the SM Mastery, which is Social Media Mastery Conference, June 4th. It's in its second year. So that obviously means that it was a wonderful experience the first time around. And of course, with social media, things are changing at a rapid pace. So a year later sometimes seems like eternity and some of the new things that are going on. So for the next 12 days, we're going to be doing them off and on, usually around 3 o'clock Pacific time. Talking to the experts, get a little bit more insight as to who they are, what you're going to be learning on June 4th. And obviously having an opportunity to rub elbows with these people and get to know a little bit more about what and how they're using it. So today, actually, Ricky's going to interview me. I'm going to be the moderator for the corporate panel. So go ahead, Ricky. Welcome.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining the Blab interview series, and thanks for being interested in social media. My name is Ricky Shetty. I'm known in Vancouver and online as a daddy blogger, daddyblogger.com. And I love hanging out at Cactus Club with passion fruit, non-alcoholic mocktails. So that's a passion fruit mocktail. I wish you were here. It's so delicious. Anyway, thanks, Cactus Club. A little shout out to them. I'm here at Cactus Club, and I'm on Wi-Fi. And that's the beauty of Blab, because I didn't have to be at home today. I didn't have to be at the office. I just finished a speaking engagement at Connect Now Network with Jennifer Hensel. And then I had some time after my meeting. So I was like, hey, let's join the Blab. And the cool part of Blab is you can do it anywhere from the power of your phone. So I'm here on my phone and I'm blabbing and I'm talking with Matt, who's in a different part of the city, and we're connecting. And people online can be connecting on Blab too through the power Wi-Fi. So my role is I'm the conference producer of the Social Media Mastery Con, and I have a team of people who are helping out. It's not just a solo show. It's definitely a team effort. As they say, together we can achieve more, or teamwork makes the dream work. So Matt is actually the Blab interview coordinator. He's also the moderator of the corporate panel, which includes Blends, Flight Center, Spud, and the corporate panelists. In terms of today, I was going to ask Matt a few questions to do with Blab. I know some of you watching might want to chime in, so jump in at any point. So Matt, tell us about yourself. I'd love to hear about you. Firstly, who is Matt Boyer?
Sure. First and foremost, I'm a dad. That's so we have that in common, Ricky, of course. Lots of great dads that we know and network with. And secondly, I do business development for a collection and bailiff company, and I'm a mindset manager / coach. So helping corporations with their employees, and basically my main focus is improving people and businesses. And obviously you improve businesses through people. So.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Definitely, business is people, and then money second. So people first, money second.
Oh, look at this! Cat action. We have some cat action going on here.
We have Catherine and Matt. So
I don't know what's going on with that.
Ask Catherine some questions. First of all, welcome, Catherine. How are you doing?
Thanks. Good. I'm sorry it took me so much work to get on here.
Part of the technology thing, you're going to have problems getting on Google Hangouts and Blabs and Skypes, and you make it work. Sometimes you got to switch devices. You got to switch browsers. You got to switch from data to Wi-Fi, or Wi-Fi from data. But that's part of the game. So, Catherine, we've already got it. I'm going to do the interviews. We're flipping around. I've already asked Matt some questions. Catherine, tell us about yourself, and then I'm going to ask both of you guys about Blab, and then who knows, someone else might want to join you later. So, tell us about yourself, Catherine. Who is Catherine Mellon?
Who is Catherine Mellon? I am Catherine Mellon. I'm a proud Vancouverite. I am a social media marketer, director of social media marketing for a few different companies, and I'm currently starting to work with artists and art dealers, actually, and commercial artists. And I have specialized in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn in my time. I wouldn't say that I'm stronger. And I'd say Twitter's probably my weakness of the four, but those are my areas of expertise. And big Instagram fan, still fighting with Snapchat. I'm still fighting with Snapchat. I want to get on the bandwagon. I do. It's so high maintenance. And I'm a mom, and yeah, that's me.
Hey, we have something in common. We're all passionate parents, and we all work from home, entrepreneurial. So that's what social media mastery is about. You know, getting people mobilized on internet marketing, social media, making money online, so that we can have the privilege of hanging out with their kids and investing time in them. Because at the end of the day, that's what's important. So I'm glad you guys are living the message, right?
Exactly.
So I wanted to ask both of you guys about Blab. I mean, we have all these platforms. You mentioned a few of them. Snapchat's obviously a big one nowadays, and obviously we have the big three: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then obviously Instagram, Pinterest, and Periscope, etc. So why did you, Matt, first of all, get into Blab? Tell us about the origin story of why you got interested in it. What do you do with Blab currently, and what do you think the future of Blab will be? So let's start with history.
Sure, history. I'm fortunate enough to surround myself with innovators and disruptors. So I got a phone call while I was on my lunch one day. Say, where are you? I was at the mall, and I said, well, you got to jump onto this Blab. So that's when I discovered that it doesn't work on Android. Because I had my phone, so I was like trying to do everything. So I figured that out, and then I was luckily, maybe 5 minutes away from an office. So. Went there, logged in again. Keeping in mind, best connection seems to be through Chrome. It does not. You won't be able to get anything through Internet Explorer. And then I jumped in, and it was. What was interesting for me was obviously the opportunity to kind of have four faces. We lost Ricky right now, but the opportunity to have four faces and really just engage in some great conversations. So I started off with another entrepreneurial friend of mine, and we really just used it as a platform to help other entrepreneurs. We're well connected and lots of experience under our belts. And so we basically would just invite people in from the chat room and say, how can we help you today? And then they would kind of start talking about an issue they had with marketing or what they would want to do for engagement or so on and so forth. Then we'd share from our experience and our contacts, and if not, we'd bring somebody in from the chat room, and it was amazing. We were probably within an hour, we were helping probably 4 to 5 people with an issue that they'd had for their company. And it was, well, the coolest part was it was all over the world, right? So both my friend and I happen to be in BC here, but we would help people. I mean, we'd help people in Switzerland, Australia. And then the thing that I enjoy the most is connecting people. So we would talk to people on different days, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like, you know what? We talked to somebody, 2 days ago or whatever else that we really feel that you should meet. And then we would just introduce them. We don't know if those things went anywhere, but you never, you don't always find that out, right? It's more of the ripple effect of that introduction and hoping everybody is helping each other. So
awesome. And sorry, I got cut in and out because I'm on the Wi-Fi at Cactus Club, so it's not the best in the world, but it's doing the job. So Catherine, you're definitely a blabaholic, if there's such a term. Hashtag blabaholic.
I am.
So
I wonder if anyone's using that.
Hey, let's make it happen. Let's tweet it out. If you're watching, hashtag
blabaholic.
So Catherine, I know you do a weekly show. I know you do a lot of interviews. You interviewed some of the best internet marketers in the city: Matt Estefan, Ryan McKenzie, so on and so forth. So
Jonathan Christian.
See,
Jonathan Christian. Yep.
So what made you get into Blab? I mean, like I said, there's so many platforms. So what made you interested in this specific platform?
It's interesting, and probably why I coach my clients the way I do. But I think Blab has just been best suited to my natural personality. I actually have a background in performing arts, and so I have a bit of camera experience, and I'm comfortable with it. And I'm also wildly chatty. I really like getting to know people, like genuinely curious. Like I love hearing about what got you started on Blab, particularly because I think any business built on giving back to people is a success. Like it's it's so important to be helpful, like for free and for fun, right? And so, yeah, so I like getting to know people. And then I got the idea that Vancouver has such a great pool of people who work online, and such an interesting group and diverse group of people that I wanted to start to get to know some of them. So I just started inviting people onto my show on Thursday afternoons. And and that's it. It's a great way for me to get to know my community too, which is kind of cool because we meet people from all over. But yet, I mean, really, I started to get to know Ricky online, but I could probably drive to his house in about 20 minutes, right? So, yeah, that's my thing. That's my Blab thing. And I liked Periscope, but I found it hard to carry the full thing, right? I'd rather interact than just be on my own.
So repeat after me. I am Ricky. I am a blabaholic.
Hi, Ricky.
But yeah, hello, Ricky. We definitely have come across our fair share. I mean, I remember on one call I was at, a guy was literally on for 16 hours.
Wow.
Like 16 hours straight, and he just was like, you know what, I gotta check out and that sort of thing. And it was just like, and then he was said, yeah, I've just been sitting here for like 16 hours, just popping in and out. So it's kind of like that. It's like a nightclub or whatever for networking, right? Because you can
hashtag nightclub for networking.
Right?
The ones with different levels where they play different music on different floors and that sort of thing. That's kind of what it's like. There's a little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah, like back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, there used to be forums, and then people go to different forums and just text each other forum stuff. But here, we can, through the power of video in real time, engage and discuss relevant topics. So we can talk about the U.S. political election. We can talk about the Rio Olympics coming up. We can talk about animal rights. We can talk about social media, which we're doing, right? So that's the beauty of this technology. It's kind of like forums, video forums about niche topics. So I wanted to know, what do you guys use to effectively build up your Blab channel? So say there's some people watching who don't have a Blab channel, if you want to call it a channel or profile or username. They start their Blab. What are some techniques or tools or strategies to start building it up? Should you firstly just be a guest? Should you start your own show? What have you done, Matt, to build up your Blab following? And what is your Blab strategy? I mean, at the conference, we're talking about strategy, building a following, managing that following, engaging and converting into cash. So what's your strategy for Blab?
Yeah, well, I've actually pulled away from Blab more so to work on some programs and presentations. But when I felt one of the main things was consistency, right? The one thing was consistency. So we picked a time, right? So people knew that, and we played with that a little bit, right? So we did a morning one and we did an evening one. And again, Catherine and I have talked about this a little bit as well, was the ability to, to kind of watch. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes, it seems, to kind of fill a room, to really get some good momentum going. So if you didn't know that, you would sit around for maybe 20 minutes and just stop, right? But once you learn that, man, I mean, more times than not, we would plan for an hour and we'd go for an hour and a half, like hour 45 easy. And especially with the platform that we had of helping others, right? Because once you start to help others, there's people. And then, again, I often co-host with people. And what I've found is when you co-host, you can really work the chat room as well as the guests that you have in front of you.
That's
right. And so,
because you have to do multiple things.
Oh.
Well, let's guess what he was going to say, Catherine.
All I heard was, do you crinkle, 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 crinkle?
Yeah.
Just for the record, I'm not being rude, but one of the things I think we forgot for the conference is Facebook live stream. So I haven't used it before. I don't know why I couldn't figure it out because it's really easy.
Do you have it on your Android?
I do.
Oh.
So I'm doing it right now. So it looks like I'm being rude, but I am live streaming the Blab.
Yeah. I haven't found it on my Android yet. Is it? I thought it was just the status button, but
No, you just go to the page and go to post. And when you go to post, it's an option.
Yeah. See, I have.
Yeah, it never occurred to me to check in post either. So.
Yeah. I'll have to.
But we'll have to do that at the show as well. I think we should get someone live streaming as well as.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will probably have Ricky's phone for sure.
Thanks, Daryl. Well, I'm going to be moderating. I'm not speaking per se. I'm moderating the panel. Daryl's just saying he's looking forward to my talk at the conference.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be moderating the panel on the 7 social platforms, not to be confused with the 7 deadly sins, which is something entirely different.
Absolutely.
Or not, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and so thanks, Daryl. I mean, anything that Catherine's doing is gonna be fantastic. She'll be up there and directing traffic essentially through the panelists. And for myself, I'll be doing the panelists for the corporate social media managers. So that's kind of what we're doing a little bit today, is just kind of having a chance to meet us as moderators and talking a little bit more about this platform and how we're using it to help promote the SM Mastery Conference. And we've been showcasing some of the speakers. So far last week, we interviewed Ricky, we interviewed Di, we interviewed Bosco, we interviewed Dan, and then we'll be continuing leading all the way up to the conference. So the great thing that with Blab that I've found is not only the engagement that you can get in a room if you're, the other thing that I've found is scheduling, right? If you know far enough in advance, you schedule it, then you can push it out to your followers, both either through Blab or through Twitter, and start to get that traffic, people knowing that you're actually going to be there. So the nice part afterwards, though, is you get a copy of the video. Right. And so you can embed that into your website, or you can push that out through a YouTube channel or whatever the case may be. But, using this time that we have, 30 minutes, or if it's an hour, and then repurposing it. Right. So that's the one thing that I enjoy about Blab. What about yourself, Catherine?
Yeah, I love that about Blab. Like I really neglect my YouTube channel, primarily because I'm already focused on 4 other areas, and you can only do so much. Oh, there's Tokyo Ricky. But I love how simple it makes creating that video content, right? So, at the end of your Blab, you just have video, and actually Blab has now added the link to directly upload, so you don't even have to do anything. You just post it straight to YouTube, and there it is. So. But I also, like I said, I love being able to get to know people. I mean, I've made some friends in Eastern Canada that do what we do, but they're, in Toronto and Halifax, and, connect with them on Blab. And that's a really cool feature, that we can actually sit down and have conversations and kind of get to know each other past tweeting back and forth, right?
Well, and I also find this a bit like Vegas, right? Blab is 24/7. Like there's never nobody on Blab at this point, right? And because it's worldwide, and that's what I mean by, we did a series to help a company promote a launch that they were doing, and we were doing it every day for 12 days, and we called it the 12 Days of Christmas. And we basically interviewed an internet marketer or a traveling entrepreneur and that sort of thing for 12 days. Well, we had a guy from Ireland that logged in every day. Right. And so the time that we were doing it, it probably worked out to be about 1 a.m. on his side. And every day he was logging in and watching the Blab and participating and that sort of thing. Right. So again, so absolute cool. Like giving kudos and shout outs to, to people that do that, and then encouraging those questions. Right. Encouraging those questions. I think that's the other thing for me that I like about Blab is you can be that introvert to a degree, right? Like you can still participate in an active conversation without having to get on camera. That said, I have de-virginized a lot of people that have not been on camera before and encouraged them to get out in front and join us, right? Because it is way more interactive when we're sitting here, the 3 of us. You can look at facial expressions. You can see, I've talked to people in their robe. I've talked to people in bed, because they're just like, no, I can't. He's like, no, really, just do it. And then they do. It's so funny because it's like you understand afterwards why they don't want to. But during the time, they're like, I'll do it. Yeah.
I've had that before too, where I'll be in Starbucks and they'll be like, come on, get on. And I'm like, I just
Yeah,
I just can't.
That's great.
And by the way, Matt sometimes
my kid,
does them in his underwear.
Which Matt? This Matt.
Yeah.
That's okay. He's got a shirt on. We don't know.
That might be true, Ricky. That might be true.
Insider's info.
I don't want to give all my secrets. You might expect something different as a panelist here. So
no underwear on the panel.
Yeah, let's not do blab in our underwear for the panel. That might be a little awkward, a little uncomfortable for some people.
So I think I got cut off again. Sorry if I get cut off. Wi-Fi is not the best here. I was asking questions about strategy, and then I think you guys went into like how do you build your following, stuff like that. Like how do you get your following? Like with Blab, I find sometimes you only have like 2 people watching, 3 people watching. How do you get more viewers? How do you get more people doing the kudos, the high five? And how do you get more people commenting? Like, do you guys have any tips for those 3 things?
Catherine, you want to go ahead?
My strategy has always been just to leverage Twitter. My Twitter account kind of went crazy when I started blabbing because of the connection. I think Matt made a really good point that there's a lot of people who are afraid of video. So if they've never been in front of the camera or they're just not at ease, it's difficult to encourage them to just come and jump on, right? So so you have to kind of, I think that's how I've ended up connecting with so many other social media marketing managers who are at ease on social. And, and then of course we all support each other. So we're retweeting each other. We're sharing out pieces of the show that are actually shared out during the blab. And that's been my main strategy. And in terms of getting people in the room, you know what? It's the topic needs to be a headline. It's the same as writing an email marketing headline. It's got to be interesting, engaging, a little bit cliffhanger-ish, because I've used just straight up, we're talking about Snapchat and nobody shows up. And when you say everything you need to know about Snapchat to market yourself in the big leagues or whatever, off the top of my head, more people will show up, right? So that's a big part of it. As for props, I don't know. I just be my charming self, and everyone gives me props.
Hey, you got over 100 kudos already.
You either have it or you don't have it. I don't know what to tell you.
You can't train charming, eh, Catherine?
You can't train charming.
I have an idea. At the conference, why don't we do kudos during the panel? Everyone who's watching the conference, they'll be going kudos.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Part of that, Ricky, is like nothing, like no different than anything else. For people to understand what the platform is, right? So when I would do a blab, I would typically start, and sometimes it started with a few people in the room, but I would at least make sure that those people would understand what the props were all about, right? Like, because if you haven't been on that platform and you don't do this, so then you encourage, say, hey, if you like what people are saying, give them, and I always called it high 10, right? Like, instead of just props, like give them some high 10s or whatever, and teach them. Right, teach them, encourage them, and then same thing if I was giving you some, I say, oh, you know what, that awesome point, Ricky, I'm going to give you some props, right? And then I would go and I would do that. Other people would see. Typically, it's your face, not a logo, like the one I'm logged into now. But so they would see, like, oh, Matt's giving Ricky props, or whatever the case may be. So you're leading, you're constantly leading.
It's good. I love it. Those are some great tips. By the way, Daryl Evans, Daryl Ellens, why don't you join in and ask that question live? So join in and then ask the question. We'll let him. We want to show you this tool as well, that anyone from anywhere in the world can join in and ask questions, either by commenting, which Daryl has done, or by actually joining the video and asking live to the host or the guest. So we'll wait for Daryl to jump on. There he is. He's joining there. It didn't take him very long. He was ready.
Hello, Daryl.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
There he is. Let's give him a round of applause. Kudos.
Yeah, there we go. There you go.
Kudos.
Just for
So why didn't you ask a question live to our 2 moderators?
Yes, I was asking, how are the numbers for people watching the recordings?
Oh, for watching the recordings.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were asking about watching live.
No, watching the recording.
Yeah. So at this point, Daryl, we just started these last week. right? So and again, depending on who's, like I've basically been taking the lead, so we've been popping it out, and then the guests will typically send it out to their Twitter followers. But I've found that in the past, probably ranged between the last series that I did, it would probably range between 60 and 250.
Well, that's some pretty decent numbers.
Yeah, again, because I find that depending on how, like these ones that we're doing, or that we've done so far, they're a little bit more personal, right? Like they're a little bit more personal. You're getting to meet the speaker a little bit, find out a little bit more about them. You get a sense of what their knowledge is, right? Because they're dropping some knowledge bombs down a little bit, but they're not sharing their whole platform, obviously, because that's what they're going to be doing at the conference. So, for what they are, to kind of get a sneak peek into who somebody is, they're kind of short, 20 to 30 minute interviews. It's been good, and again, we're going to continue to promote them. We just made a channel on the smmastery.com for Blabs specifically.
Yeah, so we have actually a strategy to promote that, and I'll share that with you as well. So what we do is we record these live, and we do it consistently every day at 3. Plus, what we do is we share these on social, like all of us have been sharing on Twitter, on Facebook. And then what we do is with this recording, we embed it onto a website. So it's under blab.smmastery.com. People can watch all the videos together if they missed Manuel, if they missed Bosco Anthony, if they missed Daniel, if they missed Shane Gibson or Matt Estefan. If they missed any of these speakers, they can watch the recordings. The other thing we're doing is we're pulling the video content and we're putting them on YouTube too. We have a YVR Conferences YouTube channel. So that's video content on multiple places. We have them on YouTube, on Blab. We're sharing them on social media. We're embedding them on a website, on a blog. We can embed them on a blog. So the recordings have power. I mean, even the speakers, they can actually put it under the media interview section, because this is very much like a podcast interview or like a mainstream media interview, but it's like a digital 21st century media interview on Blab. So the speakers can use them, and those are the ways we're getting more followers, but I'm definitely open to other ideas. Do you have any ideas, Catherine or Daryl, even if you have any responses to your own questions?
I was wondering about, I know Catherine makes up the actual little sign or whatever you call it, the header for the show, and I'm wondering, Catherine, if you've done any A/B testing on it to see if there's anything that actually makes it pop better. Have you had some? Do you think it's the topic of the show that makes it pop better, or do you think the sign has anything to do with it?
That's a good question. And actually, no, I hadn't thought of split testing. You'd think I would think of something like that. But that is a really good question. Because even, for example, with Facebook advertising, you test the headline, but you also test the image. So I would assume that there is definitely going to be some influence from both pieces. I've been so busy lately. I had January, February had the worst months of my 3.5 years in business. And then from after that, I had the best months I've ever had in business. And I've been so busy that Blab has kind of been the thing that's fallen off for me, which when I consider the amount of connections I make, that's Daryl and I know each other from being online too, right? Yeah, even though we have
Ricky was
people in common. What's that?
I said Ricky was on the show, the last one we had there too.
That's right. So that and having the, when you talk about who's watching after, well, when you've got the YouTube content to come out of the Blab now and then go on to your other channels, it's really unfortunate that I haven't been able to keep up with it, but I've been slacking in my blabbing.
You're being blabbed.
Pardon me. I am a Blab slacker. Ricky, we have a new hashtag. Hashtag Blab slacker.
We have Blabaholic, Blab slacker, Blaberific.
I'll take Blab slacker.
We're creating a new Blab dictionary. Blab dictionary.
Blab glossary.
So let's ask a few questions and we're going to wrap up. Yeah, because Cactus Club is about to do another event here. There's a lovely hope. Thank you. See, there you go. So they're about to do event here, so I'm going to wrap up quickly. But the other question I had was conversion. So we've already talked about strategy. We've talked about management, building up the following, engaging them through asking questions. How do you convert? I mean, you all have your businesses. How do you actually make money through Blab or through using Blab? What are your tips there?
Excuse me.
I've seen a few things done. In probably one of the best ones was done with Dai, where he created a landing page, and then of course just put the link in while we were talking. Because the good thing now, it wasn't always the case, is you didn't always see all the notes, like all the live chat before. It would. So if you're watching this after the fact, you wouldn't see that. Where now you do. So putting links into the chat that you want people to go check out, and it basically offered a like a cheat sheet or a sheet for a start, like a starter sheet or something. People went in, and then basically you started to be in the funnel. So that's a good way, because you want to essentially move them off of this, right? You want to move them off. Like Catherine's saying, part of it ends up being the contact that you get. Because same thing, mine jacked up completely. Once I started actually hosting and co-hosting Blabs, my Twitter just, I probably went from, maybe 3 something to like over 1,000, within a few months. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Catherine, you've done Blabs for a while now. For the last few months, you were doing a weekly show. What have you found? Did it build up your branding, your authority? Have you got clients through it? Have you built a network? What have been your major conversion? Is not only about money. Conversion is about getting followers, getting brand expertise.
Yeah.
So what have you found has helped you the most through your weekly Blab show?
I think one of the best benefits is the ability I've had to network, and in that build up my visibility, my reputation,
That's
my
another
clout,
whole social
basically.
media platform, your clout.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't
I know,
mean
I
literally
get
my
that.
clout. I meant like people seem to take me more seriously, and I don't know if that's because for the most part, people are an image, a sentence, a landing page out in cyberspace versus here. That know, like, and trust factor is, it takes you 10 seconds to do here what it takes you 3 months to do in a blog with a blog, right? So I think that's been the biggest thing, is being able to sort of take who I am, which is pretty authentic and genuine, and put that out there, and then build connections with people really across North America. And I wouldn't be moderating the show at the conference if I hadn't been chatting with Ricky on Blab, right? So just little things like that, like it gives me some reputation and some ability for people to know me a little bit. It hasn't resulted in any direct sales, but I've never really tried to use it that way. I like the fact that I neglect YouTube until somebody gives me a link that goes to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, but if you look at it,
like, I won't get around to making videos, but like, oh look, there's a video when I'm in it. You know what I mean? That for me is worth all the time I spend on Blab, because now I can leverage that, and anything attached to Google is your friend when you're in this industry, right? So
if you look at it this way, Catherine, like when I thought of a Blab expert, I was trying to figure it out, and right away I thought of you, Catherine, and Matt, and I didn't know any other Blab experts in Vancouver. When I think of Periscope, I think Francis Hui. When I think of Facebook, I think Matt Estefan. When I think of, LinkedIn, Nargis, right? Or even Daryl, he's actually awesome at LinkedIn as well. So when I think of these platforms, I think of like experts. So already you're positioning yourself as a Blab expert, because no one in Vancouver that I know is doing it as frequently as you in the entrepreneurial space. So, and now that's led to a conference, speaking spot in front of 200 people. So well done, Catherine.
Thank you. And just to make new connections. I mean, we're in an industry where we all work together, right, to achieve our goals. So, hey, I noticed that you put up the note about there's a promo code to if you use your promo code from
Yeah,
our
I'm
lab,
gonna
you
put
get
the promo code Matt. And by the way,
Yeah.
Matt always ends a blab with these questions. So I'm going to ask you these questions. If you had a choice, would it be kids, pets, both, or neither? So let's start with Matt. Would you like to have kids, pets, both, or neither?
Yeah, so I've had pets mostly through my life, but at a stage now where my daughter is my everything. So I'm definitely going with kids. So.
And how about you, Catherine?
Well, anybody who knows me, I have 2 dogs, and I foster for a local rescue, so I often have 3 dogs.
Wow.
And my daughter is my sidekick and my mini-me, so I would unquestionably go with both.
Awesome.
And then finally, Daryl, what would you do if you had a choice between kids, pets, both, or neither?
Both, actually, plus one more. I've got kids. I'm now a grandfather, so I have grandkids, and I have 3 pets. You know, so it's all 3 for me.
And me too. I don't have pets yet, actually. I just have 3 kids, and they keep me busy enough. But maybe in the future, pets too. And maybe grandkids in about 20, 30 years. Who knows? So, hey, I'll pass it back to you,
Ricky,
Matt.
you have 3 kids under the age of 5. You don't need anything else.
Yeah, well, I think we don't want to make it too long. I'm actually gonna have to head out to another appointment, but we just want to give you guys a little bit of insight into the moderators that are going to be with you on June 4th. Again, Catherine will be moderating the panel of experts, and myself, I'll be doing the corporate social media managers. So we look forward to seeing you on June 4th. We've put the promo code. If you put in BLAB when you're buying your tickets, you're going to get $100 off, making your ticket only $97. So you can't get a better deal than that for all the people that are going to be in the room. We're going to have authors in there. We have Dai, who's traveling the world with his book. You're going to have your first TEDx speaker, Ricky, because TEDx is happening next week, and so there's people that are going to be speaking at that are going to be in the conference, speaking about something different than they were at the TEDx. So, we encourage you to come join us. It's going to be exciting, and really, obviously, the biggest piece is, as Catherine's been talking about a lot today, networking. The opportunity to engage with the social media experts locally in Vancouver here. You're not going to find a better opportunity. So thank you, Ricky, for joining on. Thanks, Daryl, for jumping in.
Thanks.
And Catherine, won't be the last time, so thank you very much.
Nice to see
Matt,
Let's end with the kudos.
Kudos, everybody.
you.
Night tens. Have a great night.
We'll be back
Yeah.
in the next couple of days.
See you tomorrow at 3.
Bye,
Tomorrow
guys.
at 3.
Bye-bye.